Ready to go?
Yeah.
I don't have it, but yeah.
I think I'm going to start going anyway, because I can see some of you joining us already. Lovely people, happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Keep Cooking Daily. I'm Jack. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm the head chef of Jamie's Cookery School, and as I'm sure you know by now, we're bringing to you a bit of what we do at the Cookery School every day with these cook-ups. We're trying to just give you a bit of kitchen inspiration, a bit of kitchen love. Food is the greatest therapy, whether you're cooking it or enjoying it or both. A big welcome. Now, whilst I wait for a few more people to join in, let me welcome you to two lovely people I have in the studio with me. I've got Bryony. Hello, Bryony.
Hi, Jack.
How are you doing today?
All good, thank you. You well?
I'm very good, thanks. Bryony, have you made gnocchi before?
Yes, I have made gnocchi actually.
Lovely, lovely stuff. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's a regular actually in my house because it's so easy to make. Love it.
Super. So Brian is going to be on the chat. Get your comments in about what you'd like to know about this recipe. Tag your friends in it. And if you have anything you'd like to see in the future, let us know, guys. We are listening. I've also got Hugo with me today. Hello, Hugo.
Hello, Jack. How are you?
Good. Excellent. Have you made gnocchi before, Hugo?
I have as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it. It's a bit like what we were talking about pasta making a couple of weeks ago. It's
an activity.
Therapeutic thing to do, yeah.
Super. It really is. And that's what we're going to do today, guys. Look, this is what we're making. Easy, rustic gnocchi. Check this out. Hello. There we are. Look how good that looks. And the beauty of this recipe is that it's really, really simple. It's really simple. This is as simple as gnocchi gets. It's as rustic as gnocchi gets. It's as accessible as gnocchi gets. And it's really, really fun to make. It's a great household activity for everyone to get involved with. And what does gnocchi start with? It starts with potatoes. So what I've got just here is 400 grams of Maris Piper potatoes, something floury, boiling away. They're cut to about 2 centimeter chunks, and they need to have been boiling for about 12 minutes. Now, I got these on precisely 12 minutes ago, so they're ready to drain. There we go, straight up. Let's drain them. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them to cool just a little bit whilst we start to turn our attention to our sauce, which is equally simple today, really straightforward. A beautiful asparagus sauce. Of course, really, you could use any vegetables today that you like, but our really simple rustic gnocchi is going in this elegant, really fine, but really easy and lovely asparagus sauce. So let's actually do a bit of prep just while I let those potatoes cool down. There's no heat. And guys, keep our lovely questions, Keep our lovely questions and comments coming. Let me know what you're liking, what you're not liking, what you'd like to see. Tag your friends in a recipe, in this recipe, if you know they'd love to make some gnocchi. And Bryony, what's going on in the chat at the moment? How are our lovely people?
A lot of people are loving this recipe already because they've given it a go from 5 ingredients and they love that
Nice.
book.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. It's a great thing to do gnocchi. And as I've said before, it's a great family or household activity. This is where food is lovely to eat, but recipes like these are where food is also lovely to do. It's a great therapy. It's a great activity. Turn on a podcast, crack open a bottle of wine or bottle of something. It's a really lovely thing. Isn't that right, Hugo?
Yeah.
Can we hear Hugo now?
Hugo? Yeah, lovely thing to do, gnocchi.
Yeah?
Yeah. How's that?
Sounding good. I'm glad we did this before we started.
Question from Nicole saying, can you use anything instead of asparagus?
Nicole, look, thank you for your question. Anything that you like, really. You could do a really simple tomato sauce, essentially the same recipe. You could do like something with courgettes. Mushrooms go really well with a bit of garlic. So honestly, like in a typical kind of Italian kind of fashion, a few vegetables simply kind of fried or toasted, perhaps with some aromatics like onion or garlic or some herbs like thyme, work really, really well. Have fun with it, use what you like, and go with it. Thank you for that
Laura was
question.
asking if she could swap the asparagus for spinach.
Beautiful, lovely spinach. I just make sure that spinach is only wilted, not boiled, just wilted in a pan. Knock the gnocchi through it. It's going to be lovely. If you are using asparagus, guys, what I've done is I've kind of kept the heads whole, and then the bottoms, the stalks, I've chopped into about 1 centimeter chunks. And that's my sauce prep done. You believe it? In the time it's taken for my potatoes to cool, or maybe not cool, my asparagus is ready to rock and roll with, and that basically means my sauce is essentially prepped. If you're just joining us, a big welcome to Keep Cooking Daily. I'm Jack. A big welcome. Today we're making the easiest, most rustic, simple gnocchi recipe. I've got some potatoes just here, skin on, that I just chopped into 2 centimeter chunks and boiled them just as we started. They've just come out of the boiling water. They're cooling down, and I've been chopping up some asparagus as well for our sauce. Bryony, how are we doing on the chat? All good? All happy?
Yeah, just people tuning in from all over the world, really, and saying hello at the moment. A lot of love.
Fantastic.
For your
Well, look.
Keep Daily recipes, Jack.
Super duper. I love to hear it. Lovely people, let me just start mashing our potatoes. You're just trying to mash these up. Yes, you can use a ricer. You can get all fancy with your gnocchi, but also, excuse me, but also you can be nice and straightforward with it. And that's what we've done today. Have I peeled my potatoes? No, I haven't. Saved a job. Am I ricing them or anything? No, I'm just keeping it simple and giving them a good old mash. You don't want to overdo it. You just want to make sure they're all crushed. 90% of those lumps are gone. And then from there, we can move on. Really, really nice and easy. Now, the ingredients you'll often find in a gnocchi, in your gnocchi will be flour, and egg. We're not using egg today, so keeping things even simpler for ourselves, but we're going to use 50 grams of flour. And that's what I'm going to do now, lovely people, is I'm going to mix my mashed potatoes with some flour, with some salt and pepper, and turn this flour into the most incredible pasta. Hugo, how are you so far? All good?
Very, very good. Yeah, excited for this.
Can we hear you now?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent.
Thumbs up.
Excellent. Lovely. Hugo, what's your go-to? If you're having gnocchi at home, what's your go-to sauce? We're doing this incredible simple asparagus today.
Yeah.
So is there any personal
We were talking about this a little bit before we went live. This, I think, with a little bit of lemon and some frozen peas, maybe a little bit of mint instead of the thyme, is really nice and fresh, especially in spring. Just a homemade pesto. This gnocchi and a little homemade pesto is fantastic.
And pesto is a great thing that's really easy to make, as I'm sure you know, but also easy to freeze as well, so you can have some in your freezer. Bryony's got a question. Hey, Bryony.
Lynn missed the beginning of the video, so she's asking which potatoes are best to use.
As long as they're described as a floury potato, that's brilliant. Something like Maris Piper works great, as long as they're not waxy. That's what you're looking for. Thank you for your question. And we've got another one.
And Sue asks, can you use gluten-free flour?
Can we use gluten-free flour? You can. The bulk of this is the potato, and that's the heart, that's the soul, and also the body of your gnocchi. Gluten-free flour can work to help bind things together in a much easier way than it would with pasta. So yeah, go ahead. Lovely. And another question from Bryony. Super.
Yeah, so it's not actually a question, but well, it is a question, but somewhat Rhonda has asked, can you teach us cauliflower cheese? But actually, Jack, you're doing a cauliflower cheese recipe tomorrow, aren't you?
It's on the menu. It's on the menu. And this is a cauliflower cheese like you've never seen before. This is a cauliflower cheese turned into a sauce to go with this incredible pasta. It's unreal, and we're going to do it tomorrow. It's such a good one. So make sure you tune in for that. It's like it takes two of the world's favorite dishes and brings them into one, and it's just one of my favorite things. Look, lovely people, whilst I'm making my gnocchi just here, I'm going to start frying my asparagus. When I put my asparagus into a pan, let's have another question from you lovely people. Thank you for all your questions, by the way.
Question
Cheers.
from Sophie. She says, can you use sweet potatoes?
Sweet potato gnocchi. I mean, you can try it. I've never done it myself. I'd be lying if I said I had. I think it's going to have a glorious sweetness to it. There may be a difference in terms of mashing it. Because there's more sugar in there, it's going to be a bit stickier. I think you'll be able to get away with it, but it may not be as easy as this. Hugo, do you have any thoughts on a sweet potato gnocchi? Have you ever tried that yourself?
I haven't, no. I've done it with squash before. It works quite well with a dry squash, yeah, or a pumpkin. Yeah,
so I guess there's similar ingredients. Squash,
similar
sweet
ingredients,
potato.
yeah.
Is there any tips you can give? Like any extra steps that we need to do?
I would just add flour very gradually. Don't add too much because you can
dunk all my flour in.
You can add more. You can add more, but you can't take away. So I think whatever you're going to use, whether it be a pumpkin, a butternut squash, a potato, or a sweet potato, as that person has just questioned about. Just add your flour gradually and use just enough so that it comes together.
And that's with this thing, it's a balance, isn't it? Your potatoes are always going to have absorbed slightly less or slightly more water, depending on, well, what day it is. So the flour you need is always going to be a bit less or a bit more. So just kind of add slowly. It's a similar principle to like when you're adding, when you're making a bread dough, you know, add that water slowly.
Exactly, yeah.
Until you're happy that it's enough for you. And with this is a pasta dish, but we treat the dough differently. I want to work it until the flour and the potatoes are all kind of thoroughly combined, but we're not going to be kneading in that way that you do with pasta for like 5 minutes, as you often are. You just want this to come together, and mine is very nearly there. Touch more flour to bring it together.
And
then I got my dough. Hey,
Colleen is asking what flour you're using.
So this is just, you could use any flour. You could use like regular flour. You could use a 00 flour, which is what's used for pasta, which has a bit more gluten on it. Anything that you like, really. Any flour will work. Super. Okay, I have got my dough just here, and your dough is going to be fragile. That is that's very regular. That's very normal. But as long as you can as long as it starts to form like something that holds together, like mine is, that's what you're looking for. Now, this serves 2 very happy people, and it makes about 24 different gnocchi shapes, or 24 different gnocchis. So I'm just going to show you, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'll show you how to make 4 or 6. It's really, really straightforward.
Lisa is asking, Jack, how do you know when you've used enough flour?
Was that Lisa?
Yes.
Hello, Lisa. Hello. How are you? Now, let me show. So it's a matter of a little bit. It's just a matter of judgment, Lisa. We want to make sure that the dough is kind of holding its own. That's what you're looking for. So if you're kneading the dough and it's crumbling, it's not holding its own, it's not sticking together, you'll need to add more flour. If your dough is kind of, you know, like mine, it's kind of holding its own quite well, the flour's binding that potato together, then it's ready to go with. If you're not sure, the 50 grams are in this recipe. Start with 40, and you may well end up needing the 50. 50 is almost always going to be perfect for you. Super, guys. Thank you so much for keeping me company today. Thank you for your questions. It's lovely to have you here and make some gnocchi together. And as we've said many times, it's a perfect thing to have a drink to. So this is tea, and it's delicious. Cheers.
If you say so, Jack.
Sorry?
If you say so.
What, you don't think it's good? You don't rate my tea making skills?
No, you make a great cuppa.
Sense of sarcasm just there. Okay, look, let us just make some shapes of gnocchi. Do you need any new skills? Do you have to have gone to school to know this? Absolutely not. This is so straightforward. We're just going to use our hands and create these really, really rustic, really, really simple shapes. If I can get a wee close-up, that would be lovely.
Jack, there's a few people asking who you are, so you just want to remind people? Absolutely.
Yes, I'll do just that. Let me just form this little shape. Look, I've taken, let me take a little piece of my mix just here. It's about the size of my thumb. And then with my hands, I'm just going to kind of push it together into this lovely shape. You can start to get a little bit fancy with it by kind of knocking it into these rectangle shapes. You can give it little dents. You can use a fork to give it some character. But ultimately, as long as you've got something that is uniform and the same size as the rest of your shapes, that is what's important. So I'm going to make a few more of those. Whilst I do, who am I? So I'm Jack. I'm the head chef of Jamie's Cookery School, just here at his headquarters. Our cookery school is online, 100% online at the moment. And what we're doing with these daily cook-ups at Keep Cooking Daily is kind of bringing what we do at the cookery school to you every day. So our lessons are 100% online. They're fully interactive. And we all learn so much every single lesson because everyone's done all the hard work themselves. They've been shopping, they're in their kitchens, using their utensils, using their equipment. And everyone comes across different challenges, different hurdles, different substitutes, different swaps. And we all overcome those challenges together and all learn a whole load more in the process. So do join us. If you want to check out the Cookery School online, do it. We'd love to have you here. And thanks for joining us at Keep Cooking Daily. Look, I've got my gnocchi all set. Really straightforward, really easy to do. Hugo, how would you rate them?
They look fantastic.
Yeah? Look at them. Really straightforward, really easy. A great thing to do as a family. And what I've got is some I made earlier. I'm going to throw in the ones I've made just now. Here's some I made earlier. The beautiful thing about making pasta or making gnocchi is that you can do all the prep in the morning, in the afternoon, the day before even. It can be a great family activity. And then you kind of have a lovely dinner as a reward later on, once you've done all the cleaning. Super. So what's going on in my pan just here? I've got some asparagus frying at a medium-high heat. I'm going to finish off the sauce in the time that it takes to cook our gnocchi. Let's throw in our gnocchi. Just here, I've got some water on a rolling boil. Let's go straight in with these. In we go. And these won't take that long at all. Super duper. That water is going to become nice and starchy. It will be important for our sauce. I'm going to add a nice bit of salt as well, just to season that gnocchi from within. And we're looking absolutely fabulous, aren't we, Hugo?
Yeah, looks great. The asparagus is smelling really nice, actually.
Really glorious. Really, really glorious.
People are asking, Jack, how come you didn't use egg to make the gnocchi?
They're asking, what about egg, sorry?
How come you haven't used egg to make them?
Some recipes have egg, some recipes don't. It's just the same as pasta. You get some recipes that are just semolina and water, some recipes that are 00 flour and egg, and everything in between. And that's what we're doing today. We're keeping this simple. We're keeping it vegan, almost, apart from the cheese. We are just going without an egg. You can add an egg, maybe an egg yolk in if you like. You'll have to add extra potato or extra flour to bind it. That egg yolk will give you just a tad of extra richness, that's all. Super. So in my pan, olive oil, asparagus, and thyme. That's it. The only other ingredient that I need is some Parmesan, and I need to keep checking on my gnocchi. With pasta, when you're cooking pasta generally, rising to the top isn't a good indication of when your pasta's cooked. With gnocchi, that is the time that it is a good indication that your gnocchi is cooked. So when you start to see that some lovely gnocchis are just kind of starting to poke their little heads up, then it's a good bet that they're ready to rock and roll with. Gnocchi just here, sauce cooking here. We're doing lovely jubbly. Bryony, how can I help?
Question from Lisa and a few other people actually who've said when they've made gnocchi in the past, when they've put it in the water, it's fallen apart. Why would that be? So
that's just a case of the gnocchi not being bound well enough, essentially. So you might have had too little flour. That could be it. So perhaps some more flour will help with that, and just a bit of a more thorough kneading to kind of glue everything together. Okie dokes. Can you just see, if I can give you a view of my pot just there, you can see that my gnocchi is starting to rise to the top. So what I'm doing is I'm adding some little bit of Parmesan just into my pan, and then I'm going to emulsify this Parmesan with the gnocchi that I'm going to take straight from the pot. Let me just show you this. Ooh, and look, gnocchi, it is delicate, yes? It is a delicate process. Ooh. And those gnocchis will be a little bit delicate. If you can just see them just here, looking all lovely and toasted. The cheese is kind of combining with that water to make a nice, lovely, emulsified, creamy sauce. I'm going to get in just a little bit more pasta water. And ladies and gentlemen, lovely people, as if we blinked, it's almost all over again for another day. Gnocchi is a great thing. So many people I found from the cookery school are nervous about gnocchi. They're kind of put off by gnocchi. They think that there's a real kind of theatre and finesse and technique and skill about it. And of course, there is. But there's also ways of making it as a family, as a household, in a way that's easy, fun, accessible, rustic, and just full of joy. And this is definitely one of them. Super. Before we log off, before I serve this up, Hugo, are you all happy, buddy?
Very happy, yeah. Just to say, if we had a couple of questions about spinach earlier, this is the time I'd add it. When you were adding your gnocchi to the pan, almost in the residual heat of the pan, you get a handful of frozen peas, some sweet corn, spinach as well, as I just mentioned. If you are looking to boost those portions of veg, this is the time to do it.
Super. Now, Hugo, you're the big boy today. Choice of plate?
Ooh, your left.
Excellent. Choice of plates cause lots of discussion and debate at Jamie's headquarters, as you can imagine. Hello, Bryony.
Question asking if the gnocchi can be made in advance and then stored.
Absolutely, it can. Just like fresh pasta, it can be made in advance, and it's a great thing to do because then you do all the clearing up, and you know, you're just having a lovely evening, and your gnocchi goes into the water that goes into the sauce, and there's nothing more to it. Let me serve this. Oh, Bryony's got more questions. Well, let's do it. I'm gonna have a nice sip of tea. Let's go.
Annie's asking, what cheese did you use, Jack?
I've used Parmesan because that's how we're feeling today. Nice and kind of, Parmesan gives obviously a cheesiness, but also a richness. It's packed full of umami, savoriness. You could use cheddar if that's your thing, or just omit the cheese, and then you've got a glorious gluten-free dish. And also, guys, what I want you to see is that by adding if I can go to this view just here, actually, thank you. By adding this pasta water, I kind of am bringing everything to life and creating from nothing. You see how kind of creamy this sauce is, nice and creamy. That is from the starchy pasta water. I am ready. Let me serve this up, and we can keep those questions coming as long as you like, Bryony.
Julie is asking, can you add fresh herbs to the gnocchi dough?
Julie, I love your style. I love it. Woody herbs will be best. So things like thyme that we've used today in the sauce. Rosemary would work. It's going to be quite strong though. Sage would be lovely, kind of cut really, really fine and rolled through the dough. You could use anything that you like, really. And let me just serve myself a portion. Hugo, what are your thoughts on that, on getting flavor into your dough? It's a lovely thing to do.
I think, yeah, it's a brilliant idea. I think something soft herbs as well would work really nicely, as they would almost cook ever so slightly in the heat of those steamed potatoes. Some parsley, some chervil as well would be really, really nice.
Lovely. Look. And that's the beauty of these things, right? There's no right or wrong way. You have fun with it. Give it your stamp. Give it your character. This is just with cooking generally, you know, use what you like and what you enjoy. And as long as you're having fun with it, almost all the time, your dish will taste incredible. Look, lovely people. This is, what's going on, Hugo?
Drizzle of olive oil, maybe?
Drizzle of olive oil, here we are. Let's go back to our close-up. Let's show this, and also a little bit of Parmesan as well. Check this out, lovely people.
Rebecca says, I'm going to make this for lunch. Thank you, Jack. And Barbara
Rebecca
says, I'm off to buy the ingredients now. Thank you.
Rebecca, guys, that is so good to know. That makes me so happy. Let me just touch this up with a bit of extra Parmesan, and then I'm going to love you and leave you and let you enjoy the rest of your fantastic day. Guys, from wherever you're calling from, thank you so much for joining us. Check this out. It's not taking long at all. And this is our elegant, but yet rustic, simple, glorious, hearty, homely, delicious gnocchi. Can you believe it? Guys, thank you for joining us again. It's so lovely to have you here. I hope you're enjoying these cook-ups. Me, Hugo, Bryony, we certainly are. Keep talking to us. Let us know what kind of recipes you'd love to see. I hope you try this one. If you do, share the photo with us. We'd love to see it. And if you know of anyone who needs of a nice, fun activity in the day, or has always wanted to nail gnocchi, tag them in this video. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the gnocchi, and I'll see you very, very soon.